call the Drainage District Board of Directors meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
David Fuentes, Precinct 1.
Eric Ante, Precinct 2.
Ellie Torres, Precinct 4.
Francis Cortez, County Judge. That constitutes a quorum. Mr. Salcine, would you please lead us in prayer?
Yes, sir, Judge. Certainly will. Thank you. Let us pray. Father God, again, we give you thanks for another day that you provided us to serve, Lord. Thank you for your many blessings, Lord. We continue to lift up this elected board that you've appointed, Lord, this judge and 4 commissioners, Lord, that you've appointed to lead this great county of ours, Lord. Continue to bless them with your wisdom, Lord. Continue to bless them with all your guidance, Lord. May all the decisions have the integrity in them, Lord. And more importantly, when they make those decisions, Lord, give them the peace that comes through your Son, Judge. Just, Lord, as you continue to guide them. We pray, Lord, for the Eastern Coast, Lord. We pray for all those in the Bahamas, Lord, the families that have lost loved ones, Lord. We pray for the emergency responders, Lord. Give them the strength to respond. Give them just the fortitude to fight through, Lord. And we lift them up to you, Lord. A hedge of protection around the rest of the Eastern Coast, Lord, as the hurricane nears, Lord. We pray for our families here, Lord, for our citizenships here, Lord, for all the people that may be put in harm's way with the storm that's coming our way, Lord. Give us the strength also here at the Drainage District, at the county, at the cities, just countywide and statewide, Lord, to be able to respond if an event comes, Lord, and may we do our best to make sure to keep everyone safe, Lord. I ask this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, do we have anybody sign up for open forum?
No, sir.
Okay. So do we have the approval of the consent agenda? Are there any items to be removed?
No items that I'm aware of, Judge, on the consent agenda. As far as it's a small agenda, we have the approval of check register standard, utility permit, which is standard, and then discharge permits, which were a couple of subdivisions, which is standard.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We go on 5A.
Yes, sir. The public hearing for 2009 proposed tax rate of 1051 per $100 valuation for Dow County Drainage Number 1 2020 budget. I believe that's up for you to call that public hearing, Judge.
Okay, I hereby call the public hearing to review the proposed 2019 proposed tax rate for the Drainage District.
Start at the top and work down. Again, we know that the bond was voted on and things, but I'm hoping that, again, y'all will look at what you have to have, not what you want. It's very important for the people that they don't get these huge tax bills that will be coming in a few weeks, which is usually gets here about October or November or December. Then we have to have them paid by January 31st. So we're just asking you to watch your P's and Q's, and if there's any way, just raise it, whatever you just have to. Thank you.
Anyone else? If no one else is to speak, then that closes the public hearing.
Thank you, Judge. Item B, update on comments submitted text. I guess that's it, Paul. That's the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul.
Yes, Paul.
Legal, do I make any comments on that, or do I just go to the next item? To what was made on the public hearing, or is there any discussion to be had?
The public hearing's been closed, so unless there's any comments.
Yeah, just to remind everybody what that means, I believe Commissioner Fuentes has.
As far as the tax rate, or which one, or the second? We go to
I thought we were at 5B.
I apologize, Judge. Yes, update on consummate Texas Water Board as it pertains to implementation of flood legislation ready 6th Texas legislative session. Yes, that's correct, Judge. Commissioner Fuentes covered that last meeting. We did submit a correspondence to the board, the Texas Water Development Board, in our position regarding the drafting of the rules and what we believe would be beneficial to our area, statewide as well. So I just wanted to notify the board that each board member got a copy of that via email, and it's available. So it just lays out our plan, what we believe would be the best way to to be able to get resources to our area. So
Will you have a link on your website? so
I will
that
put a link,
anybody
yes,
that
sir. We'll
wants to
put, we'll
look at
put, we'll put the letter up. As a matter of fact, we're also going to be looking at how we can educate the public on this important proposition that's coming up, similar to what we did with the bond, just education-wise, understand the importance of people going out and voting and supporting this legislation that could bring billions of dollars and millions of dollars to our area. We want to make sure we educate the public on that. So we're going to start that here soon on that as well,
So
Commissioner.
one thing that I am going to do is, I've scheduled to attend our city meetings inside of Precinct 1 and go educate the city council and ask them to support with a resolution. So we got a copy of the resolution, and we're going to provide that to the cities that we're going to go visit and ask them to support it. So we think this is a good way to educate our area and how it will benefit them. So I encourage anybody that wants to do that, or if they want for us to attend the meeting on their behalf to provide insight as to what Proposition 8 is all about. I'm willing to help out with that.
Yes, sir. We'll be working on that.
Well, just a minute.
Yes, Judge.
Sarah, by the way, did Commissioner Flores' horse win or not? Give us an update. Okay.
Oh. Where did he
All right.
place? No? Oh.
Okay, well, they'll be in next time. All right, 5B, 5B?
Okay.
That's
thank you.
it?
Yes, sir. That was just, we wanted to update. Thank you. 6A, requesting approval to accept bids and award construction contract to the lowest and best bidder, meeting all specified requirements, Morewell LLC, for the project Lago Drain Military Road Crossing, 2018 bond referendum project 13, RFP number ACD 1-19-0640-830, in the total amount of $200,322.50, as recommended project engineer Samuel Maldonado, Sames Engineering, subject to final legal review or legal approval in compliance with House Bill 1295.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. This is one of our bond projects, you know, we're trying to get it in place. It's a critical project because TxDOT is doing the reconstruction of military right now, so it's a perfect timing issue. Item 2, pursuant to Texas Law Government Code 262031, in the interest of expediting the project's progress, requesting authority approval for Drains General Manager to execute change orders that involve an increase or decrease in cost of $50,000 or less, and no event to exceed the change order statutory limits. The original contract price may not be decreased by 18% or more without the consent of the contractor.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7, approval to issue payment of the following items. Proceeding review and compliance contract terms and conditions. Item 1, approval of application for payment number 3 in the amount of $64,414.13 from Philagonia Site Contractors pertaining to construction contract number ACDD 1-18-060-1211, Precinct 4, RCW Subdivision Drainage Improvements.
Move for approval.
Second. I have a discussion.
Yes,
This is the subdivision that called out the media that were
Yes,
not
ma'am.
happy with
On
the.
10th, yes, ma'am. On 10th Street, the south side, on the east side, south of Monte Cristo, on the east side of 10th. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and this is the subdivision that was not happy with the depth of the ditches because it impeded on their parking spaces and parking area.
But they're all in compliance with the design standards, safety and treatments at the driveways. We extended some for the accessibility to the homes. After the meeting, actually during the meeting, we were doing that work already. After the meeting, we identified some other areas. So this closes out all the additional extension and things that we did to make sure that, you know, everything that within our power was addressed out there, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you for giving it that attention.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We have a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Do we need to go into closed session?
Yeah, small item in executive session.
Okay. Pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Sections 551.071 and 551.072, we'll be retired to closed session to discuss those items. Any action to be taken will be taken on open session. May I have a motion to?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're back from closed session.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Item 10, excuse me, 9A, I apologize. 9A, real estate acquisition, will proceed as directed. 9B, nothing to report.
Okay, I believe that concludes all of our
What?
agenda.
Excuse me?
No, go ahead.
Okay, that's it.
Yes, sir.
No, he had to give something about that. Judge, before you close out the meeting,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Okay, before we close the meeting, want everybody to know that there's a storm out there, and you all need to be, real careful. Tell everyone to get ready. Let's not, take anything for granted. We've all been through this before. Some are more dangerous than others, but they all need to be considered with seriousness. So please give that information out as much as you can, and let's get ready, and hopefully we won't have to deal with it. Any other comments from the commissioners?
Thank you, Judge, appreciate that.
Okay, I believe that concludes all our agenda items. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I believe we're already at 9:30, so I call the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
David Fuentes, Precinct 1.
Eddie Cantu, Precinct 2.
Ellie Torres, Precinct 4.
Richard Cortez, County Judge. That constitutes a quorum. Today, we are honored to have Specialist E4 Auden Bocanegra Jr., United States Army, retired, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Specialist E4 Bocanegra is a Vietnam War veteran. He served in the U.S. Army from December the 10th, 1968 to December 9th, 1970, and in the Texas Army National Guard from February the 7th of 1976 to February the 6th of 1978. Mr. Bocanegra was awarded the Combat Infantry Badge and the Purple Heart Badge for wounds he sustained on November 30, 1969 while serving in Vietnam. He is currently the chapter chaplain and finance officer with the military of Purple Heart Chapter 5077 of McAllen. And we thank you so much for your service, sir.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We can remain standing, please. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for the democracy alive in our country and for the freedom to worship you. Help the elected government and all in positions of power and authority to govern wisely and for the common good of all. And we're going to have a moment of silence in honor of the victims of the shootings in Midland, Odessa. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed, Mr. Governor?
Yes, Judge. I do have public participation forms for consent agenda items 3B, 4A, and 9B, 9C. And I'd also like to pull from consent agenda items 8B, 1 and 2.
Move to approve with those items,
Second.
without those items.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, for the record, Commissioner Fuentes will be abstaining from any discussion and/or action on consent agenda items 8B, 1 and 2.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And public participation form, consent agenda item 3B, Ms. Fern.
Yes, thank you. We looked up and we're trying to figure out, it says from the registration fee, they're going to take from and put it on advertising, which is $1,500. We wondered what kind of advertising they're doing.
By statute, the program itself is operated under a statute. By statute, there are advertisements or disclosures that we have to do on our end with respect to abatements. And so those are done in a paper of general circulation, which is the Monitor.
Okay, well, that's what we wondered.
And then you have consent agenda item 4A.
And this, again, is talking about the abatement department, and it's talking about, again, the abatement postage, which was $1,500, and then the gasoline and diesel.
Again, our process in compliance with the statute requires a notice to those individuals where there is a potential violation and notice to them about an abatement, as well as a follow-up after an abatement has been done to those individuals. And the gasoline is obviously for the vehicles that are out in the field.
Can you tell us what an abatement they would be getting a notice of? What an abatement would be? Because a lot of people didn't know what that was.
Oh, essentially a unkept lawn, a weedy lot, or a buildup of refuse within trash.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to do consent 9B?
9B and 9C consent agenda.
All right. We didn't quite, and I got a couple of phone calls. They were just wondering why we're paying $6,420 for, it says, engineering fees and stuff like this. Is this what they normally do?
Ms. Marty, that's under purchasing. 9B and 9C. I mean,
I'm sorry.
yes, 9B and 9C.
So these public comments we can respond to, or?
Yes.
You said 9A and
9. Oh, I don't have it in front of me.
9B and 9C.
9B, yeah.
yes, these are invoices. The master agreement has already been entered into. These are invoices off of what that contract is for. They're put on consent only because the contract does not call that they be placed on. We put it on more than anything, just for disclosure and transparency, that these invoices are being paid and for the purpose from where they're coming from.
Okay.
So these are all negotiated agreements.
And 9C, Ms. Fern?
Again, like I said, we had.
Same thing, it's the same explanation. There's a master agreement for a certain project. This is invoicing against that agreement.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And just for clarification, one last thing on the consent agenda item, 9A. Oh, 9A, that we would have legal counsel's approval, and it will be.
That's being sent as we speak.
Yes, attached to the agenda and to the
Ms. Monica, to
auditors.
Ms. Linda, and myself.
Yes, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, we need to take action on the
No.
restroom.
No need, that was just a disclosure on 9A.
But
Oh,
you-
I'm sorry.
you didn't take
Yes,
action.
we do need to take action on those 4 consent agenda items, which were 9, I gotta go back to.
9B, 9C,
3B and
It was-
4A.
3B, and 4A.
3B, 4A,
9B.
9B, and 9C consent.
Move to approve those items.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Well, the item on the proposed rule changes is later on in the agenda. If you want
Yes.
to take it out of order.
Right. Judge, could we do that way, and it'll keep in line with what we just.
Sure. What item is that?
So it is, 10B.
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 And so we also have a participation form. So 10B is discussion and approval of revised Commissioners Court rules for procedures, conduct, and decorum of court meetings and open forum. As a general background, I'll turn it over to Ms. Josephine with respect to legislative change and compliance thereof.
There were some changes made to the Open Meetings Act by House Bill Number 2840, and our office made some proposed recommended changes to the existing Commissioners Court rules and participation form, which is up for consideration. The main change is that individuals who would like to participate on a specific agenda item and speak would need to be considered at the time the agenda item is heard and voted on. And so that's the change that was made to the existing rules as well as the participation form.
Right. And just as a further discussion, that the court was in effect already doing that.
That's correct.
Okay, so that, but this is formalizing the process in compliance with or the spirit of the legislative change.
Is there a number of restriction as to the number of people that can come?
There is not. The way the statute's written, you're allowed to make reasonable rules. And so the opportunity that you're giving here is that they be given an amount of time. And so those are the rules that we've put in place as a recommended number of minutes to be granted per agenda item. The statute also allows for additional time if they are speaking in Spanish and or another language and using the translator. And so that's been written into the proposed rules.
And what is the time limitation?
2
So
minutes,
the proposed
Judge.
is
We've
2
allowed
minutes.
2 minutes for public participation and
4 minutes through a translator.
through a translator, and then open forum at the end, 3 minutes.
That's correct.
But is there a maximum amount of minutes per item? Because that's
So-
2 minutes per speaker, right?
30 minutes.
We have 30 minutes is the maximum that we've given, but that's per open forum.
30 minutes?
That's what?
That's for open forum.
But what about per item?
I don't think we've given a maximum per item because the statute doesn't specify that at this time.
But it does on the open forum?
It just says you can put reasonable limitations in place. That's
Does
the
it say
extent
that
of
for
what
the,
statute-
for the individual items?
Yes,
Then we need to come up with something.
we can go back and do that.
Okay, will work.
Can you check, can you talk to our chiefs about that, please?
We will.
Okay, anyone else?
Okay, and we do have a public
Do
participation
we,
board by
do we
Ms.
have to
Fern.
take action on approving that?
Well, Ms. Josie, we do have it on the agenda as updated, revised, but if we don't take any action, we are essentially complying with the statute with respect to what we're doing.
If you don't want to take action at this time.
Right.
The existing rules actually allowed you to consider participation during an agenda item. So
Right,
we
so
already had that in our rules.
We're in compliance. If we don't, if we wait another week so we can formalize that one aspect of it.
I would recommend that you do take action, though, Commissioner, because it did go into effect September 1st.
September 1st.
So we can always come back and modify it if we need to.
Okay,
Motion to approve that item.
Second.
Okay, with that being said, Judge Commissioners, we do have a public participation form by Ms. Fern under item 10B.
The main thing, I just wanted to see if y'all would discuss it and let the public know what's been changed, is my question was here. Because it does require that each member of the public who desires to address the body, and it doesn't give a time, and it's right there that tells us that we're able to question. Our main thing on this one today was to explain to the public what was happening.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Back to item 5A. Have anybody here from the DA's office?
Judge Commissioners, if I may, it's their Victims Assistance Program. It's their Fund 1281. They're requesting approval of clarification on action taken through agenda item AI 7285 in the Commissioner's Court on May 21st of this year. The statement made on the background section of the agenda, item number 70285, quotations, updated personal information, in quotations, was inclusive of various personnel actions, which also included the creation of positions. It is a clarification, Judge.
Okay, move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, with your permission, 6A1, there is no action today.
Okay. 7A, Sheriff's Office.
Judge, Commissioners, while I am familiar with this is their Stone Garden. It is their Fund 1284, not 1100, so they're asking authorization approval of a budget amendment and Price Act waiver in reference to OPSG 2018.
You want to keep going?
Yes. Second action item, which is the complement to it, is the transfer, HCSO transfer, M&A to deputy overtime in the amount of $1,010.98, as well as the transfer supplies to equipment, LRP, in the amount of $32,025.34. We do have the same request on action item 3, CPCT, 3, transfer other costs to deputy overtime in the amount of $7,624, and CPCT 4, transfer deputy overtime to communication overtime in the amount of $5,000. as well as a transfer from Deputy OT to Equipment LPR in the amount of $29,450. Again, Judge Commissioners, this is the Stone Garden grant, and this is Fund 1284. This is not coming out of general
Motion
fund.
approved 7A 1 through 4.
Second.
We have a motion, and a second. Any discussion on any of those items? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
7B, Judge Commissioners, is discussion, consideration, and action in accordance with the Hill County Civil Service Commission rules for the following employee. Employee number 219037 to be paid out for accrued compensatory time, holiday, and annual leave time. This individual has moved on to a different part of the county and is now will be at a Precinct 2 grant-funded position. So they're asking for all these leave balances to be cleared out from the sheriff's office.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Item 8A.
Good morning, Linda Fong for the Auditor's Office. Item 8A1, approval of 2019 certification of new sources of revenues. As part of the budget process, we were estimating ending fund balances and next year revenues. And we've come up with an additional new sources of revenue, which means that we hadn't previously certified those as revenue. For the general fund, that is $1,844,297.52. And for special revenue, which is the road and bridge, the DA check fraud, and the HIDA federal sharing, it's a total of $470,637.94.
Is that just 8A1?
Yes, that's 8.
Move for approval.
Second.
Well, that's good news.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and the second part, which is the 2020 Statement of Estimated Available Resources, these amounts that we've estimated have already been provided to the budget offices. They've been in your presentations. For the general fund, the 2019 projected ending unassigned fund balance is $36,288,496. And this represents about 16% of expenditures and transfers out. The county has a policy of 10 to 15% of a reserve fund balance, and so that's about the higher end, 16%. If the amount that I just certified, that the county auditors just certified, is appropriated during the rest of the year, or you use some of your fund balance to budget the 2020, of course, that's going to go down appropriately, whatever amount that is appropriated. As far as the 2020 revenues, which are excluding property taxes and other financing sources, property taxes will depend on the actual tax rate that you end up adopting. The amount is $33,317,073. If the court adopts a rate of 5788, which is the proposed rate or the effective rate, we expect to have a total revenues of $215,640,745. If you go with the lower half a cent less than last year's tax rate, or 5750, it would be $214,371,842 available for appropriation in the 2020 budget.
These are the so-called conservative numbers, right?
Yes.
Do you have an opinion as to what our fund balance should be?
Well, the 10%, the 10 to 15%, that's a good rule. The GFOA, what they recommend is about 3 months of operating expenditures or revenues, depending on what's more stable.
And where would we be at 10%? What you said?
Right now, we're at 16% of operating expenditures.
Okay. And how many days is that?
I haven't calculated that,
Set Hill.
but we can get that for you.
Actually, Set Hill, if I'm not mistaken, at one of the workshops did have that number, and it was.
I have a question for Linda. Ms. Fong, the recommendation of 3 months comes from whom? What agency? What agency recommends 3?
GFO, I'm sorry, the Government Finance Officers Association,
And that's for counties or all municipalities?
for governmental entities.
Right now, we're roughly about 2 months that we have in reserve, and really based on the GFOA standards, we should be at 3 months. So we've been building that fund balance up to get to the 3 months. Right now, our policy does call for 10 to 15%, and that's a conservative policy.
Okay, anyone else?
Do we need to take action on that?
If y'all know, why do they come up with 3 months? It's not like all of a sudden that we're gonna not have income coming in or revenues coming in. Where does 3 months come from?
Well, it's for emergencies. It's to have in case of, disasters or anything of the sort. But it doesn't have to be 3 months of expenditures. It can be 3 months of revenues, whatever the more stable stream is. So if you can, if your expenditures are pretty stable and you know exactly how much on a monthly basis you spend, then 3 months of that would be good in order to recover if you had to,
Is that based on anything like prior events that they've seen? I mean, because 3 months would probably be $60 million?
No, I think it'll be closer to about 45.
45.
They are the standard, or they help governmental entities, not just in the United States, but also in Canada. So they have a lot of experience with a lot of types of governmental entities, not just counties.
And that's just to recommend it. Again, depending on your risk factors that you would have, then you should either have more or you could possibly have less.
And there's actually a form that they put out where you can kind of rate the factors.
The risk factor for us, if you remember, we had a drought, okay, some time back that we went through restrictions. When you have a drought, you don't get water. When you don't get water, you don't get new businesses to open up. So you don't get new growth, new investment. So that's one. Then the next one, of course, we're in the hurricane area. So those hurricanes, can come and hit you and disrupt you. Then we have the flooding. The flooding is also anti-economic growth and development because it interferes with business. And that's basically
Yeah, just one comment though, like, we're the county, but we're not the drainage district, and the 3 months isn't going to cover a lot of the damage that happened during a flood or a hurricane. Most of that money is going to come from the drainage district. So we are the same entity, but we're not responsible necessarily for the flooding.
Correct. One of the things is also going to be, most of our revenue comes from property tax values. So any type of housing crisis could also cause us that, we have to be mindful of that. A major hurricane, although we can have flooding, but if there's a major hurricane that destroys property, because of tornadoes or other things, that would affect it as well. But those.
Do I need a big savings account? No. Do I want a big savings account? Yes. I mean,
No, I agree. Yeah. I'm just trying to put out all the correct information out there. We've already been through a recession, so we should know how much we need in the time of crisis, because that was a huge recession. So
that was a housing crisis, so that's
exactly. So that if that cost us, let's say 10% or 5%, then maybe that should be our basis, not necessarily 30%. If it costs us 30%, then yeah, let's put 30% away, or 3 months. Sorry about the 30%. 3 months.
Well, I think we need to get rid of that deficit fund balance in our insurance program first.
I agree.
Before we start saving money. But anyway, anybody else?
Did you need action on that, Linda? Or is
Yes,
that,
please.
Yes? Okay. Move to approve.
You need action on 882?
Yes.
Okay. Second.
Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
One opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, Constable Precinct 1, this is a follow-up to last week's action item, which was the Tamook agreement, which was with Precinct 1 and 3. And so with that being said, discussion, consideration, approval to pay, let me start again here. Discussion, consideration, approval to pay of overtime hours worked by deputy constables and performance of the interlocal agreement between Hidalgo County Constable Precinct 1 and Precinct 3 and Tamook, which is the A&M Kingsville campus. approved by Commissioners Court on August 27, 2019, in accordance with the Hidalgo County Civil Service Commission rules.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And if I may continue for Constable Avila.
Sure.
Discussion, consideration, approval to appoint Bernardo Garza as Reserve Deputy Constable by Constable Celestino Avila Jr., Constable Precinct 1, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code, Section 86.012.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, I have no action under item 10A, 1 and 2 this week. We've taken action on item 10B. Moving along to 10C, approval to accept settlement check from Bogus Motors in the amount of $285 to settle an auto accident claim with one of our county vehicles.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Silguero?
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Raul Silguero from Human Resources. Item 11A, requesting a waiver of the budget amendment policy for personnel-related amendments for personnel items that are listed below.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
11B, for the classification and compensation plan, we're asking approval of the following changes to the classified position list. The Emergency Management Department would like to add this title and this job description that we have created. It's a emergency management program specialist that did not exist before. The positions in that department are titled Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator 2s. They need this position. It's a slightly lower grade than the coordinator position. So we're asking approval to add this job description and this title to the classified list.
Move for approval.
Second.
This was initiated by Saldana.
Yes, sir. Just for the court's information, we have 515 titles. The job classified list is posted on our website. It details the experience, education requirements for each job, and we can modify the list as departments need. We do job audits, et cetera, whatever is needed.
Okay, good. He needs to tell me when he's going to do something like this.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
On item, the next one, emergency management approval of the following personnel actions effective upon Commissioners Court approval. The department is asking to delete a Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator position, slot 008, and in lieu of that, to create Emergency Management Specialist 2, the job that we just listed. It's a grade 12. It's pending the signatures of the department, the judge's signature on the personnel adjustment form, so we can approve it if you need to, Judge, subject to the required signatures on the form, or we can take no action.
Well, no, I'm sure I'll agree with it, but he's under my watch, so
Yes, sir.
I would have liked to have known what he's trying to do.
Okay, sir. Yeah, Mr. Sulemana suggested that we take no action on it pending your
Okay,
review.
then let's take no action.
Okay, sir. Item D, for the District Attorney's Office. The District Attorney's Office created, or requested that we create a position, a temporary Attorney 3 position a few months ago. And they have since determined that they need a full-time position, and in lieu of the temporary position, it's the same grade, same salary, except the one would have been temporary. This would be a full-time, and it's pending funding. So they will be to delete temporary slot 012 and create a permanent position 0013, Attorney 3.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried.
Item E, for the Sheriff's Office, approval to extend the positions listed below effective 10/1/2019. The Sheriff's Office is asking to extend those 5 positions that are listed. They're a grant position. The grant was extended through March 31st of next year, so we're asking approval for
Move for approval.
the extension.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you, Judge and Commissioner.
Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners,
Did you work out today? Did you work out today?
Sir?
Did
No,
you?
MWF Commissioner.
Ah,
Be there
okay.
in the morning.
Okay. I saw you there yesterday, but you were knocking and nobody answered.
Hey, you guys are getting too good looking here.
Judge Commissioners, with your permission, I'd like to delay or just to pass right now on item 12A and go to item 13.
Okay.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Ramin Garza, Precinct 3. Item 720-057, acceptance and approval of work authorization number 3 with an estimated cost of $62,030 as submitted by project engineer Javier Hinojosa Engineering to provide engineering services for paving improvements, motor pool facility, mile 7 in Iowa Road through contract C 19243-07-16.
Move for approval. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Morning, Judge Commissioner, Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 14A is approval of the following changes in funding source as listed on the agenda, and this is for the advocate positions and the legal assistant too. They're just changing from program numbers.
So
Move for
moved.
approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 14B1 is requesting approval of certification of revenues by the county, as certified by the county auditor in the amount of $2,575,787.84. And this is for proceeds from the Precinct 3 South Detention Basin, with approval of appropriation and/or interfund of the same amount.
Move for approval.
Second.
Now, what is this?
There's a drainage asset that we built, which is a detention basin just close by Penitas, south of the expressway, which is basically a water retention. So we're selling that. We sold that to the Drainage District a couple of months ago. So this is their first installment payment. Precinct 3 had paid for the initial portion of it, and then we funded the remaining of the project from countywide COs. So basically, the next couple of installments of the next 2 years would be countywide funds, and we would distribute it back depending on what the court, how the court would like to distribute those funds.
This was needed because of what?
It's a detention
I
basin
know what it is,
for
but-
drainage.
Okay.
So basically, we created it. Now we've sold it to the Drainage District for maintenance, and basically as part of their system. So now these are just the proceeds
It's a timing,
from that sale.
It's a timing deal, right? You had county
Correct.
had money, so we built it and
We
then
built
drainage
it
pays us back.
because, yes, until the drainage was able to sell their,
But you were trying to relieve flooding?
yes, flooding
Okay.
within that area, within that Precinct 3 area. And it's right where the La Jolla Relief Route is being built, and that's part of the reason why we need to do this part of the TxDOT project as well.
Okay, and Saul County property.
Correct.
We have a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 14B2 is approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for revenues received from the Drainage District Number 1 in the amount of $141,912.30 and appropriation of the same.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
No, thank you.
Good morning. Purchasing Department, 15A1, awarded auctioneer
Marty,
contract.
can you hold? Did you need to start the drainage, the workshop? Did you need to open that since it's already past 10?
It's 10 o'clock.
Go. I have to call the workshop to order. Thank you. May I have a motion to recess the
So moved.
Hidalgo County meeting?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Entertain the motion to reconvene the Hidalgo County meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner.
15A1, awarded auctioneer contracted vendor, AMT Auction Marketing, under contract as posted, is requesting that Hidalgo County grant and permit the use of our logo for promotion of our county's upcoming auctions on the vendor's website.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
B is under Health and Human Services, approval to execute an issue and send the 60-day written notice of termination for Kevin Nolting, DBA Nolting Consulting Agreement, as requested by the Health Department.
So
Move for
moved.
approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item C1, Precinct 2, approval to complete and submit a rental agreement as required by the vendor, Parts Master, for the purpose of setting up an account. This is under Precinct 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item D1 for Precinct 4, acceptance and approval of the contract with MEG Engineering for provision of on-call engineering services for construction materials testing and geotechnical testing for the project in Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2 would be the same for SDI Engineering. This is the final negotiated contract for the provision of on-call construction management and services for Precinct 4.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3 is acceptance and approval of final negotiated agreement with Rabba Kistner for the provision of on-call engineering services, construction material, and geotechnical testing.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4 is requesting approval of work authorization 4 in the amount of $9,684.72 for the contract as listed with LNG on-call professional engineering services, traffic studies, under traffic studies for Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
This doesn't include any of the courthouse stuff?
No.
Okay.
School area. School
Yeah.
zone.
We have a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
E1 is under the county clerk, presentation of the scoring evaluation grid from the designated grading committee for the purpose of Commissioners Court to declare and rank the sole submitted response received as qualified in order to proceed to the next phase of the procurement process, which is authority to negotiate in connection with request for proposals, county clerk's office, records management, and document imaging process.
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Judge, Commissioners, with your permission, may we go back to item 12A, Community Service Agency?
Okay?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Apologize for being late this morning. Item 12A is presentation of the 2020 Community Services Block Grant Community Action Plan and Budget. Just for reference, Commissioners and Judge, our budget for this particular year, our grant under the Community Services Block Grant is $1.678 million. For the record, it's $1,678,747. The grant pretty much will stay the same in terms of allocations, and you do have a summary of that attached to the agenda. The only changes would be the creation of 3 positions. The CAP portion of the funding that we get has grown over $1 million since last year. So with that, there is a need for additional personnel to help us disperse those funds. But the CSBG portion, the $1.6 million that I just mentioned, has remained the same. So that would be the only variable from last year's budget. And what we would need at this time is to have a hearing, convene a hearing, and see if there's any comments from the public. I will also note that our Community Advisory Board did help prepare the document and also had an advisory board meeting on Friday, especially for this particular item.
I hereby call the public hearing for the proposed 2020 CSBG cap plan and budget. Since there's no response, the public hearing is now closed.
At this point, I would ask the court to motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is discussion. Oh, you already approved that, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
We're done.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, we do have 4 participants under open forum. I will remind the audience to please respect the speaker's time at the podium. There is a 3-minute time limit, and I will advise when there is 1 minute. Our first presenter, before we start, I just want to acknowledge Ms. Virginia Townsend in the audience. Yes. So, it's been a while since we've seen her, so doing okay? Good, good. Our first presenter is Ms. Fern McClarity.
I have
got three things. I know that Volley in the past has always compared us to Travis County, and I believe that they are doing their own delinquent taxes. I called over there, and they said yes. And Elliot Beck, I believe, is the county attorney over there, so I'm hoping that you'll check and see if Hidalgo County can't do the same, that we can do our own delinquent taxes. That would, looks like, might save money somewhere. The other thing I'd like to know, is it true that the head of the VA department, our new head department, went out on camera and meetings to push Proposition 1, which was the hospital district? And I'm hoping that he's not going to do that this time around while he is with the county ahead of the department. He was in uniform when he did this back in 2014, 2016, so I'm hoping this doesn't happen again. The next thing was House Bill 2840. I wanted to thank Representative Terry Canales for being the primary author. Joint authors were Bobby Guerra, Representative Gillian, Representative Raymond. Our senator that sponsored it was Senator Hughes, and co-sponsor was Chuy Hinojosa. And I wanted to read this right here. The law is out there, and it says, they, speaking as the taxpayers, are forced to wait through the entire meeting to provide an opinion on any subject matter being addressed at the meeting. HB 2840 seeks to give the public increased access to the decision-making process by providing for public comments before or during the consideration of each item on the meeting's agenda. House Bill 2840 amends current laws relating to the right of the member of the public to address the governing body of a political subdivision at an open meeting of the body. And that's just a little detail on it. If you would have moved in all the other agencies, put the open forum at the beginning so that the public has a question on something that's on the agenda, we could make it, ask it. Of course, you can't answer, but then you could consider it when you're making your decision. So it's your fault that this, and all the government agencies, not just the county, that caused this House Bill 2840, and I thank God for it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The next presenter is Hortensia Martinez.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners of the Court. My name is Hortensia Martinez, and I live at 1210 East Colony Drive in FAR. I'm here representing the majority of the Colony Estates, and as a resident of Hidalgo County, I am here to express a concern about the hike and bike trail located on South Veterans Boulevard and Colony Drive. This trail is directly in front of our subdivision, which is a cul-de-sac street, one entrance, one exit. The members of the Colony Estates include 16 homes, families, and the majority of the families are in agreement of the fence that the county placed between the trail and our homes. I have a list of signatures of the residents that you have in agreement. We thank Commissioner Eddie Cantu for kindly listening to our request of building a fence in order that we might be safe and have privacy. But about a week ago, we noticed that some workers, I don't know if they were Precinct 2, maybe bringing down the fence along 1200 East Colony and stopping on the semicircle of the cul-de-sac. This has still created a problem within our community because we incur the same problem we did when the fence was not up. People are still parking at the end of the street, walking over to the trail while leaving their cars parked along the cul-de-sac, creating a blockage for the members of our subdivision to drive by in order to park. Not only this, but there are many unknown vehicles parking in front of our homes or on the curb north of our homes, leaving no room for us to go by. We have small children, and our families in our homes or subdivision need to be protected. And with this occurring, it is not happening. According to our contracts with the owner of the subdivision, this would have been a private community with a gate and entrance and a block mural in front of the subdivision. Not so. When the hike and bike trail project first began, the residents of Colony Drive were somewhat worried of the traffic our street would incur. So the first person we addressed was Mr. Armando Garza. He said he could meet with Commissioner Eddie Cantu and that he would give us a time for any questions or concerns. After countless amounts of emails, phone calls, and texts to Precinct 2, there has been no resolution to this problem. Why one person? I don't know. Well, we would like to see the project fully in our area, asking Precinct 2 to finish the fence along 1200 East Colony Drive.
No, I'm sorry. 1 minute.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, my apologies.
Actually, what we're asking is for the fence to be finished. Please help us Please help us be safe and avoid all the drugs, obscene language, arguing, displaying of public affection, cars parking there. Some of our neighbors have had items stolen, and so forth. Our request for meeting dates back to June and to no avail. The list of signatures of the Colony Estates members shows concerns for the subdivision and would like to see the fence finished. Please do not let one or two people, dictate what will happen to our community. I want to believe that we still live in a democracy and that we are able to trust the leadership of Hidalgo County. As commissioners of the court, you have the authority to decide for the safety and privacy of our community. I want to thank Commissioners Eddie Cantu for spearheading this project, which will look amazing after it is finished in its entirety. And thank you, Judge Cortez and members of the court, for taking the time to listen to our request. We, the members of Colony Estates, ask that you do the right thing. Thank you for your time. God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Andrea Landeros.
Buenos días, señor juez y comisionados. Mi deseo esta mañana es que ustedes estén llevando a la mesa nuestra petición que hemos venido a solicitar por diferentes ocasiones. Y por eso estoy aquí, para pedirles que se inviertan fondos en la seguridad y el bienestar de nuestras familias. Y lo que estamos pidiendo es que se asigne un mínimo de $500,000, ¿verdad?, para infraestructura de alumbrado público, que equivale al 0.3%, que es menos del 1% del presupuesto anual aquí en el condado de Hidalgo. También queremos que al menos 2 subdivisiones de cada precinto sean alumbradas, y ya sean vecindades con o sin infraestructura en la parte posterior de sus propiedades, o sin infraestructura. Les agradezco mucho por su atención. Gracias.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I'm here again with the petition we've made in different occasions, and which is to ask you to invest more funds for the security and well-being of the families, assigning at least $500,000 for the infrastructure of public lighting, which is 0.23%, less than 1% of the annual budget of the Hidalgo County. Also, we want that at least 2 subdivisions of each precinct be lighted each year, whether it has infrastructure or not. Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. And our last presenter is Mr. Jerusalem Flores.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I have 2 things here to talk about. I believe that all war veterans should be completely exempt from paying property taxes. Completely exempt. President Trump recently forgave wounded veterans from paying student debt. Totally exempt them. That's recent. So I think we should really do better than that. Not just the disabled, but all war veterans should be completely exempt from paying property taxes. I know there's some guidelines to this, but maybe you should just bend the rules a bit. I mean, I'm not being the devil's advocate here, but bend the rules a bit and just do what's right. I don't think anyone's going to come after you. And if they do, I think the media will, go after them. Anyway, second thing. These past few weeks, I have been asking you to cut taxes for the citizens of Hidalgo County. We are currently living in a very inflationary period, with goods and services overwhelming the poor, the lower middle class, and the middle class, the middle class, and anybody engaged in day labor. Rent, for example, is between $500 and $1,000 a month. That's a lot to pay. It's very inflationary. To make things worse, we have rising sales tax, that's gone up, and rising property taxes. The only thing that's helping us right now is the pump. The gas is going down, and from what I've read, it should continue to go down. But that's about it. Now, these past few years, professionals that work for the government, education, and medicine have seen increases in salaries. but for everyone else, their wages have been rather stagnant. And I just read several articles on this just very recently. You know, if you were making between $7 and $10 an hour 10 years ago, you're probably making the same amount today. According to my sources, Hidalgo County is still growing, but slower than several years ago. I wonder if the slowdown can be attributed to the present steep rise in taxes. You know for a fact that rising taxes will always dissuade businesses from settling in an area, and they will even push out businesses. It's always better to have lower taxes, will attract businesses, and they will allow businesses to remain here in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Judge, Commissioner, we do have one executive session item.
Judge, since we're at the open, do you mind just?
Go ahead.
If we could just make sure to notify the public again, there's a tropical activity out in the Gulf. Please take precautionary actions or prepare yourself. We shouldn't take any of these storms lightly. So just as a reminder to prepare yourself for any potential rain event that may occur in our area.
Thank you, Commissioner. Pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Sections 551.071 and 551.072, we will be retiring into closed session to discuss those items. Any action to be taken will be taken in open session. May I have a motion to retire to closed session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're back from executive session. Thank you. We're back from executive session. Are there any action items to be taken?
Judge, Commissioners, for the record, open session 19A, real estate acquisition appropriation for same, there's no action. 19B, pending and or potential litigation, there's no action. 19C, civil action 716 CV 00510, Maldonado et al. Versus Ricardo Rodriguez Jr. As the District Attorney of Hidalgo County. There is no action to be taken today. There is no need to go back to close or open. And prior to adjournment, Judge, or spay and neuter?
Yes. Don't forget to spay and neuter all your pets. We have about 40,000 unattended pets throughout the county, and we ask you to help us manage those. And finally, again, there's a storm out there. Take all the precautions necessary. All those storms are dangerous. So with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.